Well, I was asked to record this build, and so this is just kind of the very beginning of it. I ordered some mahogany from a local lumber yard that specializes in hardwoods, and they came up with a 18-inch by 13 feet piece of mahogany, and I went ahead and took the whole thing. I was only wanting a small piece, enough to maybe get a couple blanks out of, but I couldn't pass it up because all these blanks will be one-piece blanks. They won't be glued up, which I don't have any problem with being glued up, but you know, if you can get a one piece, then that's even better. And then I've also got material for the neck on the cutoff of it. I cut it down to about 13 and a half inches, which for this Tele I only need 13 inches for on the blank for the template. And so I had 4.5 inches of cutoff, and I worked them down. You know, the board wasn't perfect when I got it. It had been planed, but not really well. Had one straight edge on it, and so I've been working this afternoon on getting half of the board cut up. I've got it cut. You can ignore, this is some of my wife's craft stuff here. You can ignore that, but you can see these other three pieces here that are basically identical to the one that I'm going to be using, and I haven't completely made up my mind. But anyway, I just spent a pretty good bit of time after cutting these up into lengths, and they all had a little bit of a twist to them because of the tension in the wood. Once I cut it, the whole board is pretty flat, but when you start cutting it up into pieces, the tension that's present in the wood starts to pull on the, you know, one way or the other, and causes it to warp just a little bit. So I had a little bit of a twist or a wind in all four of these blanks, and I put it on my sled over here and put shims under the high places, and ran it through there and got it flat on one side, and then flipped it over and got them flat on the other side, so that now all four blanks are dead flat. Again, here's some more of that's my wife's stuff that she's just got set out there, but that's the other half of that board. You can kind of get a bit of a idea. Those blanks are each 18 inches a piece long, and so this whole board is 18, and a pretty impressive piece of mahogany. So I couldn't pass it up. It cost me a little bit of money to pick it up, but once I build this one guitar, I've got a template that I can do some more blanks, and just go ahead and make some bodies and either use them myself or sell them if somebody happens to want one. I was planning on using a maple neck. I had some hard maple that I've had for over 20 years, but in the process of just laying around, I haven't been able to keep it perfectly flat. It's been standing up part of the time, and anyway, I wasn't able to get it perfectly flat. This is a second piece, and you can see it's got a pretty good bit of wind to it, pretty good twist. And the other half of this, the whole thing was about 8 inches, and the other half of this, I got it flat finally, but by the time I got it flat on both sides, I was right at 3/4 of an inch, and that doesn't quite give me enough to use for my blank. So I'm probably going to be using one of these. I'll have to plane it down a little bit more, but I'll probably be using one of these and wind up with a with a mahogany body and a mahogany neck, which I sort of like. I know typically on teles you think of a maple neck, but anyway, we'll see. I may wind up purchasing some mahogany that's not quite so warped, and I mean not mahogany, but some maple that's not quite so warped. Really like some flame maple, and I may find some. There's a little bit in the stack of the lumber yards that had a little bit of flame to it, so I may do that. But this is just kind of the ground floor process, getting the blanks ready and just preparing, waiting on my templates to come in that I've ordered. I could make them, but it would just take me so much longer to make them than to order them, and then when they get here I can just start working on the guitar, and you know, I don't have to worry about knowing that everything's right with my templates. I ordered them from a guitar maker, from a guy that makes guitars and also makes templates. So I'll know that they'll be right, and I won't have to question whether I did it right. So anyway, that'll make it a little bit easier in the process. On mine, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to put a Mesquite cap on top of it. For one thing, this board was just barely over 1 3/4 when I got it, and so I've got, by the time I got them perfectly flat, I had a little under 1 3/4, and you know, I could probably make it work, but my plan to start with was to have a cap. I didn't think I could get a full 2-inch material that by the time I got it worked down that it would be the 1 3/4 that I needed. So, and I love the Mesquite. I will try to, all of those are little Mesquite biscuits there, but I was trying to find a piece of Mesquite that I can show you here. A little bit darker wood, a little bit heavier wood, and not all the Mesquite's exactly the same. This piece here is a little darker, a little redder. Some of it's a little more light and not quite as red, a little bit more tan. Just see what I come up with. But anyway, that's a cap that I want to put on top of it, a 1/4-inch cap, and I've decided I'm not going to use a pick guard. I don't want it covering up the wood. Even if I went with the mahogany itself, I don't want to cover up the wood. I want that exposed, so I'm not going to use the pick guard, and my pickups will just mount in the body cavity. They won't be mounted on a ring or anything else. And I'm going to be using Filtertron style pickups, more than likely TV Classics, which is what I really want. It's going to push the price up on this build more than what I wanted, but when you get through, it'll be a really, really nice instrument with pickups and electronics that are up to par with with the rest of the guitar. I hate to put GFS type pickups or something like that in it. I wouldn't mind getting actual Gretsch pickups, but they're a little bit hard to get a hold of. And so, I mean, I could do that, but everything I've heard, people have told me, save up your money for the TV Jones Classics. They're definitely worth it. So that's what I'm going to put in here, even if I have to wait a little while to actually purchase the pickups. The templates I've got coming are already sized for the Filtertron style pickup, and so I'm just waiting on my template at the moment. I'm ready for when it gets here. I can start constructing the body and the neck and doing all that sort of thing. And I've got a Bigsby B5 tailpiece in a box over there. I've got my fret wire and my Gotoh locking tuners. I've got a tune-o-matic style roller bridge instead of a Tele style or even a Strat style bridge. I'm going to put a tune-o-matic style on there, which is, hope people don't think that's sacrilegious for a Telecaster, but that's what works best with the Bigsby tremolo. So I'll be putting that roller bridge on there, and I think it's going to work great and look good too. So anyway, just waiting on my stuff to get in. I'll put these updates out as I have opportunity to work on the guitar and show some progress. I'm probably not going to do anything with actual machines running. I might show a little bit of the routing or something like that, a little bit of the sanding, but I don't want to be distracted while I'm actually doing it, because that's when you screw up and make mistakes and things like that. So I'll just kind of show the progress and maybe just a little bit of the routing, a little bit of the sanding, and other than that, it'll just be kind of updates on the progress. So give me a thumbs up, subscribe, keep up with it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks.